I didn't, I mean, you want to move over here, that's fine.
Move on down.
All right. I need I need a pen and a gavel. Thank you.
I passed on your info to the contractor that's building all that too, for the site, because they're out of Lexington, so I don't know if they have contacts,
Yeah, he just had a mediation.
signs and stuff, so it should help you out. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I was waiting around for somebody.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Gotta be all official up here. All right, well, whenever you're ready, get us live streaming or whatever. All right. Okay. Ready for you? All right, I'll call our meeting to order. This is Putnam County Board of Zoning Appeals, Thursday, December 12th. It is approximately 6:40. We'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance. Mr. Hodge, will you please call the roll?
Robert Stone Street,
Here.
Greg Mick,
Here.
Tony Hodge here. Mr. President, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Hodge. We have presented to us first item of business, action on the minutes from the November 14th meeting. Have the other members of the board had a chance to review those minutes?
I have, and I'll move to approve the November 14th meeting minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Minutes are adopted as presented. And I have signed. Hodge will sign as well. All right, the next item on the agenda is citizen concerns. Let's postpone that. I don't see any other citizens in the room except for the applicants for the variance. So let's skip down to the next item, which is a variance application. Before we hear a presentation from staff, I'll ask the other members of the board as to whether you have any conflict in rendering a decision on this application in light of the name of the applicant or the property involved.
I do not.
I do not.
And I do not perceive conflict either. All right, with that, we'll defer to staff to present the application.
Okay, Alley Cat Signs has applied for a variance to permit a larger wall sign than what is allowed under the zoning ordinance for the new human being building being constructed at 73 Point Place in Hurricane. It's tax map 222E, parcel 62.1. The property is zoned C1, suburban commercial. The zoning ordinance, Article 1400, regulates the signage in the area. 1400.07B says that the wall signs are allowed, and they are to be permitted at 1 square foot per 1 lineal foot of primary building frontage, 0.6 square feet per 1 lineal foot of secondary building frontage. The planning officer shall determine the primary and secondary frontages of a structure. The structure shall be permitted to have a maximum of 2 primary frontages, and a wall sign shall not extend further than 12 inches above or from the building to which the sign is attached. So, the facts are that Alley Cat Signs has submitted the zoning variance application to allow a larger wall sign that is permittable. The application and disclosure statement is included as attachment A. Parcel 62.1 of tax map 222E is zoned C1 suburban commercial. The parcel is also surrounded by C1 properties. A zoning map is enclosed as attachment B. The reference property is outlined there. The pink properties are C1 suburban commercial, and the yellow properties are R1 single-family residential. Human Beings approved site plan for construction is included as attachment C. The variance request is regarding the signage for the west wall, which faces Point Place. The Human Being will occupy the front portion of the parcel adjacent to Tays Valley Road. The north and west sides of the Human Being were determined to be primary frontage. The building will be situated on the parcel so that Tays Valley Road is to its north and Point Place, which serves as the access point to the parking lot, is to its west. You can see that on attachment D. Article 1400 of the zoning ordinance allows 1 square foot per 1 lineal foot of building frontage for wall signage where the primary frontage is determined. Because the west side has primary frontage and measures 14 lineal feet, the wall signage up to 14 square feet is permittable on that wall. The sign proposed for the west wall of the building is 26.63 square feet, which exceeds that by 12.63 feet. Alley Cat Signs permit application along with the sign plans for the proposed signage is attachment E. An example of a developed Human Being with a similar design is included as attachment F. To date, there have been no adverse comments that have been received for the variance request. It was legally advertised in the Hurricane Breeze. All abutting landowners were notified, and the notice of public hearing was placed on the site. I have not received the applicant's response to the 4 variance criteria.
So the necessity of the variance, is it due to the size of the signs on both walls of the building or just one of them?
Just the one. So the side of the building that is adjacent to Tays Valley Road is like 44 feet long. So it's allowed up to 44 square feet. The design is such that the signs on the building would be the same size, equal to each other. But the 14-foot side of the building is only allowed to have a 14 square foot sign. So they're requesting a 26 square foot sign that would be on both of those frontages. So they would be equal.
So they would match.
Yes.
Is there any reason why the ordinance is set up the way it is, that it limits the size of one sign, one side of the building as compared to the other? I mean, what's the purpose of that? Do we know?
I think it's just to keep the signage from getting out of hand. You're allowed to have 1 square foot for each lineal foot of the frontage. And generally, the buildings are not 14 feet wide. So it's just a small building.
Do we have any other similar variances in the area that were granted?
I can tell you as far as sign variances go, the board has historically been very strict with the sign ordinance. To my knowledge, this would be the only variance that is asking for sign on the wall to match on each side where the linear
The one facing Tays Valley Road. So there are no other sign variances in that vicinity, or do we know?
I'm sure that there have been several requested
Or any granted, that's what I'm aiming at.
through the years. There have probably been some requested changes, but not a lot, as far as being able to listen to the other people.
I think there was one for that building that's now got a a tattoo shop in it. It's close to that. It used to be an all-state agency. And
I do think there was one in that area that you speak of. If I recall, that building has an odd-shaped wall. It's like an angled wall that's not parallel to the road. I think that's part of the conversation, but I would refer to it.
It is shaped like a bay window.
Yeah, it's got a very, it's not a 90-degree.
Okay. All right. Any other board members have questions of staff?
No. I do.
All right. So we're going to have a public hearing now on the application. It appears there's two gentlemen in the audience. I assume you're both here on behalf of the applicant. Is that correct? Correct. And we don't have any other members of the public here. But I will just say, for purposes of the public hearing, that the comments that if you choose to present comments, you should direct them to us as the board. We'll recognize you before you make your comments. You'll be put under oath. So you're giving sworn testimony when you offer your comments. We normally have like a 5 to 10 minute limit on presentation, just if we have lots of folks, but there's not really a whole lot of other people in here, so that's more of a guideline than anything. But as the applicant, we'll certainly allow you to make any presentation that you wish. And again, this is for us to receive information from you. It's not a forum for debate, but it's to allow us to gather information to make a decision. So that being said, do both of you intend to present comments, or one of you?
I think just one, and I'm more so here for questions that you may have that he can't answer
All right.
about the business in general, or, but he's got all the statistics and
He has all
the statistics of what we're wanting to do.
All right. So, well, let's do this. I see the application is on behalf of Alley Cat Signs. Is that the owner of the building?
Of the building?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. All right. So, what is your name, sir?
I'm having a real hard
Why
time
don't you
hearing
come
him, so.
right up here?
Okay.
Are you going to make some comments anyway?
Do I need to make comments?
No, just go ahead and come up here, you might be able to hear better, and we'll let them hear you better too.
All right. So before we start, state your name.
Martin, breast coach.
Yes.
You solemnly swear affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth? All right, thank you.
All right. It's Martin Breast Coach, you said? Yeah. All right. So, Mr. Breast Coach, are you the owner of the building on which the proposed sign will be affixed? Okay, and so who, are you with Alley Cat Signs then? All right. And is the application on behalf of you, or is it on behalf of the owner of the property?
It's on behalf of
Okay. And who is the owner? Who is the owner?
Mike Chapman.
All right. And Mr. Chapman's here,
I am.
present in person. All right.
I don't know if I can talk without being sworn in, but I am the leaseholder of the property, not the owner of the property.
Fair enough. Okay. All right. We may ask you a couple questions in a minute. So, but has Mr. Chapman authorized you to speak on his behalf in support of the application? Yes? All right. So that being covered, would you like to make some comments in support of the application?
Well, the only comment, it looks as if, where she was reading, I think it said that what we're asking for was 26 square feet, and basically comes out to about 24.6 feet by the size of the signage that we'll put on it. It has, I don't know, 2, 3 other locations, and all of the building signage is exactly the same by corporate specs.
Okay. And is that what's shown in attachment F?
Correct.
Is the sign sort of integrated into the architectural structure of the building? I mean, is it kind of part of the building design rather than an addition to the building?
Say again.
I'm trying to get a feel for how this, whether and if so, how this is different than a sign for any other business. That's what I'm driving at. Like, there's other businesses that have, like the Wendy's or the Sheetz, or everybody else has various signage that, and to my knowledge, they are all in compliance with the ordinance. So what I'm asking you is there something specific about the design of this building that calls for this variance, or why we should provide an exception to the rule that there should only be one side of the building that has a sign of this size?
As far as corporate goes, I'm not aware of any rules that they have, it has to have no signage. That's just been what we've done so far. And they have their certain specifications as to the size of the signage that goes on it. These are individual channel letters. That's what's on it. Okay, so basically, cut the back out, the shape of the sign. You have to wrap the sides of it 5 inches deep, and then make a plastic face for the front. I have here the exact dimensions of what each piece is going to be, and
When you say here, what are you referring to?
it was in that or not.
Well, let's see, we probably have it in here, it's maybe exhibit.
Attachment E, maybe?
Yeah, you have it.
Attachment D?
E.
E. Okay, so is these dimensions as exhibit E in the application? Is that what you're referring to? All right. Okay. Go ahead.
So if you look, such as the word "the," height of that letter is a little over, about 8 3/4 inches tall. That's really, really tiny for a channel letter. So as far as physically being able to make it within the 14 square feet and light it as well is almost impossible. So what I would have to do to be able to get down to the 14 square feet is to make this a cloud channel sign rather than individual letters, which basically means I'll take this logo and I'll put about an inch to 2 inch border around all of it. And then whatever shape that is what the shape of the sign will be. So basically, I'm doing a completely different sign in front of the building than I would have on the side. I don't know that corporate would go for that.
And when you say corporate, you mean the franchisor for Human Being?
The corporation of the human being.
All right. Any other comments that you would like to make in support of the application?
Not at
All right, well, this is your only shot, so.
this time. Okay. No, there's not I mean, I know we're golden on the one side. We're just concerned with the front side of the building, the primary.
When you say front, you mean the sign that faces the, not Tays Valley Road, but the access
Side
road?
that only allows 14 square feet. Again, if I get it that small, it's going to be difficult for people to see it from a distance as well.
Okay. All right. We appreciate your comments. Mr. Brescoach? Oh, you have a question?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So, a couple things. I can't tell on the site plan, are there any plans for a monument sign? A monument sign, like at the entrance, will there be a sign there that says the human being? Or will there be a sign, I know there's an existing sign for Wendy's. Okay.
We're going to put faces in one of the blank spots on
Okay.
the call that a multi-tenant sign.
Mhm.
And it's not going to require a monument sign because of that.
Okay, so just signage in the multi-tenant sign that's already existing?
Correct. The only other signage I'm concerned with is that we may, I don't know yet, may want to put a small enter and exit for direction on how we're going to be able to.
Do those signs, if you've had those in the past, do they have the human being logo on them?
No, they're just basically the same color, and it'd be a darker background. It's kind of a bronze color and white letter.
The sign in the picture here in our packet, attachment F, is that sign, does it have integrated lighting, or is it the type of lighting where light bulbs shine on the building? Internally illuminated.
Each letter lights itself.
Okay. Did you do the signage on the building in Barbersville?
That one I didn't know, but I did do one in Ash.
Do you know, based on Ashland, is the size of that sign identical to this plan for what we're looking at tonight?
Yes, I did.
Okay. All right, that's all I've got.
Any questions for Mr. Brescoach? Mr. Mick?
Only question I have, this building appears to be drive-through only. Is this building, it appears to be drive-through only?
I believe so.
Okay, okay. That's all I have.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Brescoach. Mr. Chapman, are there any questions or any comments you would like to offer in support of the application?
It was a question that you asked that he didn't know quite the right answer. I just wanted to give you my opinion on that answer.
All right, if you wouldn't mind coming up here and we'll get you squared away. All right,
Okay, you asked about a variance, had any other, reason for the variance. In my opinion, the reason you probably don't have a variance is because our building is so uniquely shaped. We only have 14 feet across the front, so we have 45 feet this way. So when you're measuring the signs, only 14, when you're looking at just a regulation, it may take into effect that all sides are 14, and you would do each one the same. Here we're 45 and 14. So that's why I think that you may not have had variances similar to this. Does that make sense?
so are you saying that the side of the building that faces Tays Valley Road would not be big enough to put the maximum size sign on it?
No, it would be, but it wouldn't meet the specifications of only a size that could be put on a 14-foot building because of the width of it. Am I explaining I mean, if the building was square, it would be 45 feet, 45 feet.
right?
And then it would be easily be able to put two identical signs on the front and the side. But in this particular instance, the reason we can't put both on is because one side is narrower than the other. But it still has the same visibility, distance from the road.
Yeah, I understand the orientation issue. You've got the side that faces Tays Valley Road is smaller than the side that faces the access road.
And I think our concern was as people were driving, you would be able, coming from Perkins side, you would be, in that particular instance, you would have the visibility of both sides, with one being much larger than the other side.
Go ahead.
Point of clarification, the 14-foot side of the building faces
Wendy's.
Wendy's, not Tays Valley Road?
Hayes Valley Road is the long side.
Okay, the long side faces Tays Valley Road, the short side faces Wendy's.
And the variance is for which side? The long side or the short
The
side?
short side.
Facing Wendy's.
Okay.
Let me ask you this, is there a plan for a sign on the south side of the building?
No, just north and west.
Yes, okay. You said you're the leaseholder, is that correct? Okay. Does the Human Being Corporation, every building that they build is at 14 feet wide? Or are there variations of the size buildings you guys have?
I mean, there's variations for people taking over existing space, but new construction would be, sometimes you may go into an existing structure, franchise, it's slightly different, and they would have to make adjustments.
So all new construction where it's just the human being occupying the structure, they're all 14 feet wide?
14 by, it's about a 600 square foot. So it's a very small footprint.
So what is the, let me ask a different way. Without the variance, what's the impact on the building, the signage? I mean, if we were to deny it, what would be the effect?
Well, according to Martin, I'm not a sign guy, you would have to make a totally different sign in front of the building than it's on the side of the building. So it would sort of, like a Wendy's sign, it's like a Wendy's sign on this side and this side. They both would say human being, but one sign, and I don't have a picture of a cloud sign, but it's made in one lump piece versus on the front of the building, or facing 34 would have individual channels versus one big round sign on the front of the building. Because of his inability, because of the size to make a channel.
You'd have two signs of different structural design. One would be standalone letters and the other would be all in one piece. All right. Any other questions from board members?
No.
While you think, is there anything else, Mr. Chapman, that you would like to offer to us in support of the application? Okay. Do you need a minute, Tony, to?
Picture of the site area.
All right.
I have pictures of our other two, this is our third location. I have pictures of our other two.
Where are the other two?
Huntington, on Route 60, Beach Plaza, and National, on 12th Street, right above National.
Do they match the design shown in attachment F? And is the one you're proposing for Tays Valley Road, would it look like what's in attachment F?
Do you have any other knowledge of another human being location somewhere that had to reduce the size of their wall sign?
I don't, the company originated in Oregon, so there's a lot of them on the West Coast. And we have about, company-wide, about 190 locations. And the ones that I've seen, which are in Lexington and the Canton area, Canton, Ohio, they're like, there's two different kinds. They're the same building, but one being modular, which comes in pre-built,
Any other questions?
No.
Any other comments, Mr. Chapman? All right, well, thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it. Any other members of the public or other individuals who wish to offer any comments? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. All right, public hearing is now closed. I will entertain a motion to adopt the factual record.
So moved.
All right, probably need a little more detail.
Okay.
I will entertain a motion to adopt the application presented and the testimony presented as the factual record upon which we will make a decision.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. All right, so now we will discuss the application. Since there's only 3 of us this evening and I am the presiding chair, I do not vote unless it's necessary to break a tie between the 2 of you. So with that clarification, we'll proceed. And you guys can discuss this as you wish. We can walk through the criteria in a moment. But I would invite thoughts on whether there's any concerns about the application at this point that you would like to discuss before we proceed to walking through each of the criteria.
Is staff still available for?
Sure, we can supplement the factual record with answers from staff.
I just have one simple question. Is there the lighting on these signs, was there anything in the application that would go outside the bounds of, what is it, lumens, I think we measure? Is there anything on this lighting that would go outside of those bounds that would be greater than what's permitted by the ordinance?
The lumens are not specified on the application. It's actually not information that is asked of them. It's not information that is asked on the application. As far as the lumens, only how it will be lit, which is listed as internally.
It just occurred to me, so
Sure, no problem.
thank you.
Right.
Boy.
Well, if there's not anything else that you guys want to discuss before we walk through, we can start walking through each of the factors. There are 4 that we need to address, and all 4 have to be found in the affirmative in order to grant the application. So the first one is that the variance will not adversely affect public health, safety, or welfare, or the rights of adjacent property owners or residents.
Well, in this particular case, I don't think we've heard any evidence that it would affect adjacent property owners. The two signs that are going to be on the building, one is facing Wendy's, which they don't have anybody here, and the other one's facing Tays Valley Road, which it's already permissible. I don't see anything in there that will adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare rights of the adjacent property owners. So I would have to say yes on that one.
Mr. Mick?
I agree.
All right, on the second one, and this is probably the most important one, that the variance arises from the special conditions or attributes which pertain to the property for which a variance is sought and which were not created by the person seeking the variance.
On this one, and you guys speak up if I may not be seeing it the right way, but in this particular case, based on the testimony, these freestanding buildings that the corporation is putting up all over the country dictate that the building is to be 14 feet wide. And so in my mind, unless I'm not seeing it right, I would think that the leaseholder really has no control over that. This is, every building is built this way. And so because of that, the gentleman did not create this problem. It's just something that has arisen based on our ordinance. If you guys have anything that I'm not seeing or not thinking about,
Sure.
speak up.
Mr. Mick, any thoughts?
I agree with that.
Okay. So then, based on that discussion, how would you, what is your inclination as to whether to find yes or no as to the second element?
Well, based on the reasoning, I'm inclined to vote yes, to be a yes on it. And this is a difficult, this is very unique, and it's difficult. And as was stated, I think this board's been pretty strict on sign issues. But in this case, it's just, I'm a yes on that.
Okay, Mr. Mick?
Also, yes.
All right. The third criteria is that the variance would eliminate an unnecessary hardship and permit a reasonable use of the land.
Well, on this one, I think the variance would allow the applicant to construct a building and a sign that's consistent with their normal building plan and would allow them to do business in ways that they've been able to do elsewhere. So I'm a yes on that one.
Mr. Mick?
I'm also a yes.
Right, then the last element is that the variance will allow the intent of the zoning ordinance to be observed and substantial justice done.
Well, I think in this case, after this board hearing the testimony of staff and the applicant, and considering all the options, in this particular case, I think there being no adverse effects, no other people here to comment on it, and it being in that C1 district, I think the intent of the variance is allowable in this particular case as it relates to our ordinance. So I'm a yes on that one.
Mr. Mick?
I agree.
All right. Then, based on the comments of the board members, I will entertain a motion on, well, let's back up. As the chair, it appears to me that the other two board members believe that all four criteria of necessary to satisfy the granting of a variance has been satisfied. Is that accurate?
That is for me.
Yes.
All right, so in light of that, I will entertain a motion to approve the variance application as submitted.
I move to approve the variance application as submitted.
A second.
Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 2-0, and again, I'm not voting since there's not a tie. I've been presented with a draft order prepared by staff, and based on the motion that just carried, I would ask for a motion to authorize me to fill out the order indicating that we voted to approve the application and, voted to approve the application.
I'll make a motion for the president to be able to complete the order that we approve the application.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 2-0. And I will execute the order. All right, Mr. Chapman and Mr. Brescoach, thank you for attending tonight. Your application has been approved by the board for the variance as requested. We have a few other things on the agenda. You're welcome to stay, but you're also not required to do so, and you may leave at your leisure.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We look forward to seeing you coming through.
We'll be able to find you.
See you guys.
See ya.
All right, do we have a staff report?
We're scheduled for January 9th, but we do not currently have an agenda item, so unless something comes in very, very soon, probably not.
Okay. Anything else to report, staff-wise? Is Sandy still working for you guys part-time? Okay. Well, she was here at the last meeting, so pinch hitting for you, I believe.
Yeah, she was here because I was on vacation.
Yeah. Okay. Any unfinished business? On the new business front, do we need to elect officers for the next year? So we need a nominating committee, is that what you call it? All right. Okay, what is our current makeup for the board? It's these three, Jared, and who else? Jesse still on?
Yes, Mr. Mick is an alternate,
Okay,
and Mr. Stewart is still on.
all right. Kelsey
He is no longer.
Harding is his name, right? I knew it'd come to me. All right. Okay, so we have a full board of 5 and then 1 alternate. Correct? Okay. Do we need a second alternate? Has there been those in the past?
There has been, we have an open spot. If you know anyone who would meet the criteria, please send them an application, send them to the website, and turn it into the county commission. They would ultimately make the decision. You have to live in the zone area for a minimum of 3 years.
Okay. All right. Well, if either of you gentlemen know anybody that fits that criteria that would like to contribute to the public good on this fine board, please suggest them. So I would, I guess, ask Mr. Hodge if he would serve as our nominating committee, particularly for any additional individuals and also for slots to serve as president, vice president, and secretary for the coming year. And I would be happy to continue my role as vice president / acting chair when Jared is not here, and Jared would probably, I will volunteer him to continue as the president
You
as
always
well.
do it when they're absent.
Yes. Okay. Any other new business we need to deal with? No? All right, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.